It's not monetary value, they'll drown you. In this cesspool with these Jews all around you. Fools will allow you to lose all your values and your principles by convincing you that dollars and cents make you invincible. So when you don't got it, you think you invisible. $1 million niggas still miserable. Living in this fantasy world until reality visits you. Pinnacle of joy is your newborn.
What up, family? All right. So I figured I should put together some little information. Let me turn that off. Yeah, I figured I'd put together a little information, and then just put it out there concerning this organ trafficking and the Libyan slave trade. And I felt like, if I didn't do it, psh, that would, come on, like that's way too major for it not to be getting reported, not to be, on every conversation and on social media. It's major. So I wanted to share a little bit of the information that I ran across, and just put it out there. So initially, you're hearing the reports that just came out maybe last week as far as some of those individuals that were fleeing from different parts of Africa to Libya were ended up being sold on a couple of different slave markets located there in Libya. So my first thought that I had was like, I know it's a lot of military bases in Africa. So, um, like, how is that even really possible when you got so many U.S. military bases in Africa? And then I was thinking, well, where are they located at? So, and looking up that information, I kind of bumped across a couple of these, links and a couple of maps. And so, but before I kind of got into those slave markets, I wanted to just give y'all a little background and show y'all something that I had ran across concerning those detention centers that they got there in Libya as well. And so I found a little video where a lady she's speaking on it. I'm gonna share that real quick. I want y'all to watch that, and then just and then we get into the conversation as far as this Libyan slave trade, and as well as the organ trafficking. Y'all gonna see how that tie in a second. So, all right, check this video out. All right, hold on.
What I saw in Libya is what I would describe as the incarnation of human cruelty at its extreme. I was deeply shocked, and I remain really shocked. MSF has been working in what we call detention center in Libya for the last year. People, for the sole crime of wanting a better life, are piled up, parked in dark room with no ventilation, 30 centimeters square, unable to even stretch their legs for days, starved to illness. And then people looking at me with despair in their eyes and just whispering, "Get me out of here." I've heard stories that will haunt me for days, if not years. Stories of a pregnant woman who was forced to stand in the middle of the backyard on one foot under the sun until she felt of exhaustion. And that very same woman told me, she said, "But my story is not the worst. There was a man who was hanged with his hand up, beaten publicly, and then afterwards they reached for his wife who was pregnant, and they raped her in a different room." And then she looked at me and she said, "They don't even respect pregnant women." Torture, abuse, humiliation, public punishment. We read them and it just move on. Going to Libya for me put stories and picture behind those words. And knowing what we know, that we keep to build and create policies that are trapping individual in this kind of nightmarish environment. Every nation, every government that is facilitating to send back people in Libya or to keep them contained in Libya is complicit to massive, massive abuses on human beings. That's all I can say.
Okay, family. So I just kind of wanted to put that little video there just to kind of show, like, honestly, y'all see it, like, if them conditions um ain't pretty much what we know as slavery, I mean, and that's considered legal because those people, they fleeing and they in those quote unquote detention camps. So, you know, we already it ain't too much that need to be said as far as how illegal and inhumane that what's going on over there is. So, but that's just leading me into the next point I wanted to show y'all. I'm gonna put this up here on the screen, but now Pete, the locations of those detention centers that this lady was just speaking about. So we got the map up there, and then with that map, um, it had just kind of like, next thing I thought, like, okay, well, where are these slave markets located at that we hearing on the news just barely, but we catching little reports about what's going on in Libya. So where is these slave markets located in comparison to where these quote unquote detention centers is located at? So you can kind of see like, all right, now that's looking kind of shady. I mean, I think y'all see that. So in saying that, I'm like, well, these military bases that AFRICOM just, got located in Africa, what, do they got any in Libya? So, and we know how, like, they toppled Libya and got Gaddafi out of there. I mean, y'all seen enough information on that, I would think. But I was thinking like, okay, well, we got military bases um in Libya, and then we got these detention centers in Libya, where the conditions is, parallel to slavery. And then we got reports coming in where individuals in Libya are being um, sold as slaves. So, I'm like, man, like, well, how is that even possible? Like I said earlier, like, how is that even possible when you got, a military presence on every country or in every country on the continent of Africa, as well as you got like bases that you launch drones from that's right there in Libya. And then, so, it just kind of verified a thought that I was having that I had shared with some folks that if the United States wasn't making money off of this travesty over there in Libya, it wouldn't be going on. Like, I mean, flat out. Like, so in saying that, I think y'all can kind of see where the locations is at. And then, like got they in the same vicinity. Like, so is this detention center actually a slave market? And is that why you don't see any type of military, um, any type of troops or anything getting sent there? I mean, because this is these detention centers, they pretty much is holding a lot of people there um, due to the countries on the other side of the Mediterranean. That's like, man, we don't want no immigrants. Italy and I think Greece and then even Israel. Like we'll touch on them in a second. But anyway, so as y'all can see that, like, all right, that's suspicious in itself. And then that kind of explains why you won't really hear too much about it, at least on the Western media. I don't know about the European media too much. I don't know what they up there doing. But so okay, so now look, the next thing I wanted to point out is notice that I had mentioned, organ trafficking. And so the reason I had mentioned organ trafficking, um, well, hold on, I'm gonna just let the video speak for itself. I got a little clip I want to show y'all real quick. I'll let this clip explain where I'm going with this, and then I'm gonna share a couple articles, and then we out of here. All right, check this little clip out real quick, and this is gonna kind of introduce the topic of organ trafficking, and then how we gonna connect it to this Libyan slave trade. All right, check this out.
Organs Watch is a university affiliated documentation and medical human rights project. The mission is to document what in the world is going on within transplant, especially now that living donors who are unrelated are being recruited and shipped and trafficked all over the world, to make it known that it's happening. It is illegal and it's dangerous. And people don't want to talk about it. I mean, it's, you just can't go up to somebody and say, well, how long have you been stealing kidneys from peasants in Moldova? I tried to not just be in hospitals, but to see the buyers, the sellers in their homes. What was the tragedy behind the story that, turned them into sellers? Or who were the brokers? And like Rosenbaum. I wrote to a few of my friends, some of them in transplant, and I said, they got him. Finally, why did they take 7 years? Because I did, when I had a meeting with the FBI agent in the Roosevelt Hotel, the Dick Tracy moment, I said, I understand from all of my contacts in Israel that the broker here in New York City is Rosenbaum. What motivates a religious person, as this person was, to become a trafficker? Well, I think in the case of Rosenbaum, he just got corrupted by I think he didn't start out that way. I'm sure he didn't. But he was part of a bigger, something much larger than himself, which was a criminal operation that originated in Israel. The saddest thing is these people, often Russian immigrants, coming in and being frightened and saying, I don't want to do this. I don't know how I got involved in this. Let me go home. And then they were forced. They were coerced.
Okay, family. So y'all heard what I heard, and I just want to run through this real quick. Let y'all peep this info. Now, the lady, I think her last name is Hughes. What she did do is she dropped a couple of names, a couple of phrases that was real critical in what we talking about, and quickly. What she said, she mentioned the area. She said Moldova when she was talking about peasants from Moldova being shipped worldwide. And then she also mentioned, and notice how that little news segment, they tidied that up as soon as she got to talking about Israel was the um, origin of this organ trafficking market. Um, so with her mentioning that it originated in Israel, and then she mentioned, like I said, the area of Moldova. Those couple of phrases made me want to look into it real quick, and also who she was. So as you see, I got this on here real quick. Y'all can Google this Pacific Standard, and this is a little bit about this lady and some of her work. So I decided to read this, and I'm gonna just scroll down real quick because it's a pretty good read as far as length. It's just like I said, they give a little background about her. But I think I'm gonna post this article on my page so y'all can just go back and check it or whatever, reference it. But it's a certain part where she's kind of talking about that interview that we kind of just watched, and so I just want to go right to that and get to that part so y'all can just get a little background on what she's saying and where I'm going with this. Okay. You see, like I said, it's a nice read. It's not short. You can look into it, look it up or whatever. But let me find this spot real quick. Okay. All right. She here in this section here. All right. She goes into talking about how she met with the FBI and this, you know, the whole process, October 2011, about 6 years ago. So, all right. Anyway, what I wanted to point out is, okay, it's talking about kidney transplants, and then, like I said, I'm gonna make this available. But after this individual Rosenbaum was pled guilty to conspiracy, she asked a real good question: where are the ones he conspired with? And so, you know, y'all can look into that. Y'all will see it, and nobody else go down for that. So, but this article again, it's a pretty good article, and she touches into, this connection with Israel, her work that she's did. She's, went around the world asking doctors, morgues, um, brokers, donors, how did they get into that situation? How did that situation play out? What were the results? So so y'all can check that out. But okay, so now remember, like I said, she mentioned Moldova. So in saying Moldova, I wanted to, kind of look up where that was at. And just like I said, it was a little name drop she kind of gave. And so when she did that, um, what ended up happening is I punched in this name. We gonna get back to this article right here, but I wanted to, cover this Moldova real fast. So this character right here, I don't know how to pronounce that, but y'all see the defense minister of Israel. So this born in Moldova. So okay, the minister of defense, he's from Moldova. So this is an area that is Romania, Russia, and he's the you see a defense minister. Now, one little quick point I wanted to just make real quick while we go into him and Moldova is how the Israelis, Jews or whatever, how they always talking about they from Israel, but I'm telling y'all they're not. They are Russians, and so this is one of the guys on the top of the little chain. He's a Russian. So all right, anyway, but Moldova. Let me see. It's an article once again that lady she had participated in, where they asked her a couple of questions, and this is the name of the article, and y'all can Google that, look into that. Y'all see what it say, and so I just wanted to share something that she had stated. It says right here, while Shepard Hughes emphasizes that traffickers come from numerous nations and ethnicities, including Americans and Arabs, Israel, she states, is at the top. It has tentacles reaching out worldwide. And then she goes on to say how look, in a lecture last year, she explained that Israeli organ traffickers have a pyramid system at work that's awesome. They have brokers everywhere, bank accounts everywhere. They've got recruiters, they've got translators, they got travel agents who set up the visas. So, like I said, she's done her research. So now to tie this in real quick, family, into why I'm saying, or why I'm mentioning the organ trafficking with the Libyan slave trade. I'm gonna see. Let's see. Well, we'll just go here, and I want y'all to check this out. Um, mm, y'all see, I'm not the fastest typist, but it is what it is. All right, but we is gonna try to wrap this on up in the next 2, 3 minutes. Let's see. I don't know if I can find a specific article that I'm looking for, but I think this is it. Okay. Here we go. International Business Times. African slaves cut open for their kidneys in Libya's burgeoning organ trafficking market. So, y'all see that? So, in case somebody like, man, you on a conspiracy theorist, you just saying anything, man. No, what I'm telling y'all is that these individuals that y'all hearing about being sold as slaves in Libya, they're not about to go work somebody's plantation and pick no cotton. No, that's not what's going on. It's deeper than that. They they are taking these individuals' organs. I don't know whether or not is this from the detention centers or the slave markets, or they all the same. I mean, who's to say? I'm not there, but I can't get in touch with none of the ones that are there. But it's a travesty. So I just wanted to share some of the information. Y'all can look this article up. It goes into it a little bit. This was updated December 5th, so this was, last week sometime. So y'all can see it. Y'all remember seeing this little incident here where they were telling the price and all of that, but it's deeper than that. To think like, man, like who who are requiring or in need of these organs. And then one other little thing I want to point out real quick that I found in this article, the answer to that question. Let me see. Now, this is some of the reasons why they're pointing towards Israel. Okay, let's go here. Whoops, excuse me. Boom. It says, first, Israelis partake at an extraordinarily high rate. According to a 2001 BBC report, Israelis buy more kidneys per capita than any other population. Then it goes to say, second, Israelis have the lowest donor rate in the world, 1/3 to 1/5 that of Europe, due in part to beliefs that Jewish religious laws prohibits organ removal as desecration of the body. And then let me scroll down. One of the third reasons that's given is the Israeli government has enabled it. In testimony before a congressional subcommittee in 2001, Shepard Hughes described what she termed Israel's national program of transplant tourism. For many years, the Israeli health system subsidized its citizens' transplant holidays, reimbursing Israelis $80,000 for medical operations abroad, with the remaining costs largely covered by the government subsidized insurance plan. Part of that $10.4 million that's getting sent over there every day to Israel from U.S. taxpayers. But anyway, in addition, Israel's Ministry of Defense has been directly involved as members of the ministry or those closely related to them accompany transplant junkets. So I think we touched on that, who he is. That Minister of Defense is this guy, um, I don't know, y'all can pronounce that, whatever, but Lieberman, who is from Moldova, which that article is titled because it also mentions that in Moldova, a large part of the population are going or walking around with one kidney. So, y'all can look into that. But just understand, the level of what's going on out here. It's serious. They won't report about it. They won't tell you exactly the in depths of it. Y'all know. So anyway, I just wanted to put this together, kind of quickly, just to show it kind of what's going on over there. And that's about it, family. Thanks for viewing. Leave a comment, share, but keep this in the conversation. Um, because it's a tragedy and it's going on right now, and you got cats that's looking like. Check this out. Let me see if I can find this picture before I let y'all go. But bang. This is what's going on. And the people that's benefiting from it is like the European Union and the little background. And I'm not the one that's just making it up. You can see what it says up under this picture. European governments have not just been fully aware of these abuses by actively supporting the Libyan authorities and stopping sea crossings and containing people in Libya, they are complicit in these crimes. So, they benefiting from this. And then when I say that, I know that sounds like what, but you know, you keep all these people over here in these detention centers, make their way to the slave markets. They purchasing these people using their organs, and the numbers that they talking about for the organs. I mean, it's a turnover. It's a crazy profit. I don't even know the percentage of the profit, but it's ridiculous. So, just keep that in mind, family, when y'all look into or when y'all watching or hearing about some of this stuff that the media barely covers. It's a lot more to the story. So, and like I said, I don't know if I said this earlier, we kind of familiar with Gaddafi and what went on there, but this right here is just a little thing that I had found that I thought, was pertinent to this as far as the above quote that I had read. It says in 2008, several years before the Arab Spring, Italy agreed to pay Muammar Gaddafi, who by then had ruled Libya for 35 or 39 years, 5 billion over 25 years as reparations for the colonization of the African country. In exchange, Gaddafi agreed to stem the flow of refugees to Europe. Together, both countries began to capture asylum seekers who made it to sea and returned them to Libya. Later, Gaddafi insisted that the European Union pay Libya 6.3 billion annually to keep refugees from reaching Europe, suggesting that Europe might otherwise turn into Africa given the number of black asylum seekers who would reach Italy if the EU did not accept his terms. The Arab Spring started soon thereafter, resulting in Gaddafi's death, which left the central Mediterranean route to Europe newly open. So, it ain't nothing new. It's been it's been happening, but some type of way, I don't know what, but it's done hit this Western media just a little bit. So I just want to share some of that. But that's it for right now. But that's the organ trafficking and the connection to it with the Libyan slave trade. So America, the United States, they always running around liberating everybody. They say that. They say they go bring democracy to countries. So this country right here, I mean, you can kind of, yeah, I remember Hillary Clinton. We saw him, whatever she said, we attacked him, we killed him, or something she said about Gaddafi. So that's what we got here. That's what it turned out to be. So all right, family, that's it. Peace.